When my stepdaughter Rachel humiliated me at a family meeting by saying, "Patricia, you're not real family. You have no right to Dad's inheritance. You're just a stepmother who stayed around," I knew it was time to reveal the truth I'd been hiding for 15 years. While she was trying to exclude me from the inheritance as an outsider stepmother, I was about to show her my father's final will and the real inheritance distribution. Comment where you're watching from and stay until the end, because this isn't just an inheritance fight. It's the moment a 15-year secret explodes. My name is Patricia Williams. I'm 62 years old and live in Seattle, Washington. I married Edward Williams 15 years ago. Edward was a widower with 3 grown children: Rachel, 38, Michael, 35, and Jennifer, 32. I was Edward's third wife. His first wife, Anna, died of cancer. His second wife, Linda, divorced him. Edward was a successful business owner. Williams Construction Company, which he founded in 1978. Real estate development, commercial construction, net worth approximately $2.3 million. When we married in 2009, Edward was 67 and I was 47. His children were openly hostile toward me initially. They whispered gold digger, fortune hunter, opportunist at family gatherings. But Edward loved me deeply, and gradually, slowly, I built relationships with his children. I bought gifts at Christmas, remembered birthdays, spent time with grandchildren. Over the years, the ice began to melt. Rachel especially warmed up to me. "Patricia, you make Dad happy," she said in 2012. "Thank you for taking care of him." In 2015, Edward was diagnosed with early-stage Parkinson's. I became his primary caregiver. Doctor appointments, medications, physical therapy, emotional support. The children made occasional visits, but the daily care burden was on me. Rachel sometimes commented appreciatively, "Patricia, we're grateful. Don't know what Dad would do without you." In 2018, Edward's condition worsened significantly. Speech slurred, mobility limited, cognitive function declining. I hired a home health care aide, modified the house for accessibility, managed a complex medical regimen. During this period, Edward pulled me aside one evening. "Patricia, we need to discuss the future." "What do you mean?" "My will. The current version doesn't reflect current reality." "Edward, don't worry about that now." "No, this is important. You've sacrificed everything for me. The children have their own lives, their own families. You've put your life on hold." "Edward, I love you. That's what spouses do." "Patricia, I want to update my will. Make sure you're protected." "Protected how?" "Primary beneficiary, 70% of the estate." I was shocked. "Edward, that's a huge percentage." "You've earned it. 15 years of devotion, 5 years of caregiving. The children will inherit something, but the bulk should go to you." "Edward, the children won't understand. They'll be furious." "Let me worry about the children. This is my decision." Edward contacted estate attorney Michael Peterson. He updated his will privately. I was designated as 70% beneficiary. The children split the remaining 30% equally, 10% each. But Edward made an unusual request. "Michael, don't tell anyone about the changes. Keep the original will on file publicly. New will sealed until my death." Why the secretive approach, Edward? Family harmony. If the children know about the changes now, it could create conflict during my remaining time. I want peaceful final years. Michael agreed to the confidential arrangement. Only Edward, Michael, and I knew about the updated will. Edward died in January 2024, peacefully at home. I held his hand in his final moments. The grief was overwhelming. Funeral arrangements, memorial service, condolences from hundreds of people whose lives Edward had touched. A week after the funeral, Michael Peterson called a family meeting to read the will. Standard procedure, he explained. All beneficiaries should be present. Rachel, Michael Jr., Jennifer, and I gathered in Peterson's office. Before I read the will, Peterson said, Edward left specific instructions. He wanted the original will read first, then additional documents. He opened a folder and read the original will, dated 2010. To my daughter, Rachel Williams Thompson, I leave $100,000 and the family home. Rachel smiled, relieved. To my son, Michael Williams Jr., I leave $100,000 and 20% of Williams Construction Company shares. Michael Jr. nodded approvingly. To my daughter, Jennifer Williams Costa, I leave $100,000 in personal property, including vehicles and jewelry. Jennifer looked satisfied. To my wife, Patricia Williams, I leave $50,000 and the right to remain in the family home for 2 years. Silence. Awkward, tense silence. I appeared to receive the least inheritance. The children got business, property, substantial cash. I got a modest sum and temporary housing. Rachel spoke first. Well, that seems fair. Dad took care of everyone. Patricia, Michael Jr. said, 50,000 plus housing should tide you over while you figure out your next steps. Next steps. As if I was a temporary resident being evicted. Patricia, Jennifer added, you're welcome to stay in touch with the family. You'll always be connected to Dad's memory. Always be connected. Past tense relationship? Peterson cleared his throat. Actually, there are additional documents. Additional documents? Rachel asked. Edward updated his will in 2018. Significant changes. Silence again. A different kind of silence. What kind of changes? Michael Jr. asked carefully. Peterson opened a second folder. Codicil dated September 15th, 2018. Supersedes all previous wills. Read it, Rachel said impatiently. Peterson began reading the new will. I, Edward Williams, being of sound mind and body, do hereby revoke all previous wills and testaments. The children leaned forward. To my beloved wife, Patricia Williams, who has devoted her life to my care and happiness, I leave 70% of my entire estate, including the primary residence, 70% of Williams Construction Company shares, and all financial accounts. Explosion. What? Rachel jumped up. 70%? That's impossible. To my children, Rachel, Michael Jr., and Jennifer, I leave the remaining 30% of my estate, divided equally among them. This is ridiculous, Michael Jr. shouted. She's not even blood family. 10% each. Jennifer stood up shakily. Dad wouldn't do this. Peterson continued reading. Patricia has earned this inheritance through unwavering devotion, sacrifice, and love. My children have their own successful lives and careers. Patricia gave up everything to care for me during my illness. This is unacceptable. Rachel turned toward me. Patricia, you manipulated him. He wasn't in his right mind. Rachel, I said calmly, your father was completely lucid when he updated his will. Lucid? He had Parkinson's, cognitive decline. His doctor certified mental competency, Peterson interjected. Required for will changes. We're contesting this, Michael Jr. declared. Undue influence. Elder abuse. Contest on what grounds? Peterson asked. She isolated him, manipulated him against the family. Did I? When did you last visit your father before his final week? We were busy with our own families. I spent every day with him for 5 years. Every doctor appointment, every physical therapy session, every difficult night. That was your job as his wife, Jennifer protested. My job? I loved him. You treated visiting him like a chore. Patricia, Rachel said coldly, you've been planning this from the beginning. Gold digger scheme finally paid off. Planning what? Falling in love? Caring for a sick husband? 70% is excessive, clearly undue influence. Peterson spoke up. Edward anticipated these accusations. He prepared video testimony. Video testimony? Rachel asked. Peterson turned on his laptop. Edward appeared on screen, clearly recorded during his health decline, but mentally sharp. If you're watching this, I'm gone, and my children are probably upset about my will changes. The children stared at the screen. Let me be absolutely clear. Patricia did not influence my decision. I made this choice because she earned it. For 5 years, Patricia put her life on hold to care for me. She could have traveled, pursued hobbies, dated other men. Instead, she chose devotion. My children have successful careers, marriages, families. Patricia sacrificed everything for me. Rachel, you visited me 6 times in my final year. Michael Jr., 4 times. Jennifer, 3 times. Patricia was there every single day. The children looked uncomfortable. I'm leaving Patricia 70% because she deserves it. Not manipulation, not undue influence, love and gratitude. If you contest this will, you'll lose, and you'll prove you cared more about money than about me. The video ended. Silence filled the room. Rachel was first to speak. This is still wrong. She's not blood family. Blood family? I asked. What about the last 15 years? You were Dad's companion. We're his children. Companion? I was his wife, his caregiver, his best friend. For 15 years, Michael Jr. said. We're his children for our entire lives. And for your entire adult lives, you treated him like an ATM machine. That's not true, isn't it? Rachel, when did you last call him without asking for money? That's irrelevant. Michael Jr., you borrowed $80,000 for a house down payment. How much did you pay back? Business was slow. Jennifer, your divorce attorney fees, who paid them? Dad offered? Because you asked. Repeatedly? Ha! Patricia, Rachel stood up. This inheritance is morally wrong. You're not his real family. Real family? I held his hand through every medical crisis. Where were you? We have our own responsibilities. So did I. I chose to prioritize him. Because you had nothing else. I had everything else. Career, friends, freedom. I gave them up for love. Peterson interrupted. If there's no further discussion, I'll begin the probate process. Wait, Rachel said. We need time to consider our options. What options? I asked. Legal challenge. This will is the product of manipulation. Challenge it, I said calmly. Waste your inheritance on legal fees. Patricia, Michael Jr. said, be reasonable. 70% is excessive. Your father thought otherwise. Dad was sick, vulnerable. Your father was a brilliant businessman until the day he died. He made a calculated decision based on your manipulation, based on your neglect. Jennifer tried a different approach. Patricia, what if we negotiate? Maybe a 50-50 split? 50-50? I should give up the inheritance your father specifically chose? For family harmony. Family harmony? Where was that when you ignored him for years? We didn't ignore him. You treated him like an obligation. Holiday visits, birthday calls, financial requests. That's not fair. Fair? You want to discuss fair? Fair is getting what you earned. Rachel changed tactics. Patricia, think about his grandchildren. They deserve an inheritance. Grandchildren? When did they last visit Grandpa? Kids are busy with school. Excuses. I invited them multiple times. You always had conflicts. Patricia, Michael Jr. tried. Dad built this business for the family legacy. Did he? Or did he build it through hard work, just like he worked hard to update his will? The business should stay in the family. I am family. Wife for 15 years. You're not blood family. Blood family that disappeared when caregiving got difficult. Peterson checked his watch. I need to close this meeting. The will stands as written unless legally challenged. We're challenging, Rachel declared. Understand, Peterson warned. An unsuccessful challenge could forfeit your inheritances entirely. What do you mean? The will includes a no-contest clause. Challenge and lose, you get nothing. The children exchanged worried glances. How strong is our case? Jennifer asked. Weak, Peterson admitted. Edward's competency is well documented. Video testimony is powerful. Years of medical records show clear thinking. But 70%. Edward's choice. Unusual but legal. Rachel turned to me one final time. Patricia, please. Reconsider the distribution. Your father reconsidered the distribution. Thoroughly. We're his blood! I'm his choice. The meeting ended with the children furious and me vindicated. 2 weeks later, Rachel called. Patricia, we've hired an attorney, Gerald Morrison, estate specialist. Good luck with that. Morrison says we have a strong case for undue influence. Morrison wants your money for legal fees. Patricia, last chance. Split the inheritance fairly. Your father already split it fairly. 70-30 isn't fair. To whom? You, who visited 6 times in the final year? Or me, who never left his side? You're destroying family relationships. You destroyed them when you disappeared during his illness? We had our own lives. So did I. I chose to prioritize him. The phone call ended badly. 6 months later, a contest hearing was held in King County Superior Court. Judge Susan Crawford presiding. Rachel, Michael Jr., and Jennifer vs. Patricia Williams estate contest. Their attorney, Morrison, argued undue influence, social isolation, cognitive impairment. My attorney, David Kim, presented medical records, video testimony, witness statements from doctors, caregivers, neighbors. Your Honor, Morrison argued, the defendant systematically isolated the deceased from his children. How? Judge Crawford asked. Controlled access, monitored communications, created dependence, Kim responded. Your Honor, the plaintiffs visited the deceased 6 times total in his final year. The defendant never restricted access. Mr. Morrison, evidence of isolation. Morrison fumbled through papers. Witness testimony indicates. What witnesses? The plaintiffs admit minimal contact with the deceased. Kim presented phone records. Your Honor, the deceased called the plaintiffs repeatedly. Calls went unanswered, text messages unread. Mr. Morrison addressed the phone records. The deceased may have been coached. Coached to call his own children? Morrison's case crumbled quickly. No evidence of manipulation, isolation, or cognitive impairment. Kim played Edward's video testimony in court. I'm making these decisions with a clear mind and full heart. Patricia earned this inheritance through love and sacrifice. Judge Crawford asked the plaintiffs directly. How often did you visit your father in his final year? We were busy with careers, Rachel stammered. Specific number? 6 or 7 times. Mrs. Williams visited daily for 5 years. Yes, but what? No answer. Judge Crawford ruled quickly. The will stands as written. Contest dismissed. Plaintiffs responsible for court costs. Rachel, Michael Jr., and Jennifer lost the inheritance contest. They also paid $40,000 in legal fees and court costs. Final distribution. I received $1.61 million, the family home, and 70% of business shares. They received $76,000 each after legal expenses. Today, 18 months later, I live peacefully in Edward's home. Our home. I converted his office into a reading room, planted the garden he always wanted, volunteer at the senior center. The children maintain minimal contact. Holiday cards, brief phone calls, civil but distant. I don't regret Edward's decision. He saw clearly what they couldn't. Love isn't obligation. Inheritance isn't birthright. And family isn't defined by blood alone. When my stepdaughter Rachel humiliated me at a family meeting by saying, Patricia, you're not real family. You have no right to Dad's inheritance. You're just a stepmother who stayed around. I revealed the truth I'd been hiding for 15 years. While she was trying to exclude me from the inheritance as an outsider stepmother, I showed her my father's final will and the real inheritance distribution. Sometimes real family is chosen, not born. Sometimes inheritance reflects love, not bloodline. And sometimes the person who gives everything receives everything in return. Edward's children learned that presence matters more than the presence of a birth certificate. I learned that love is the strongest legal argument. And the court learned that true family shows up when showing up matters most. Rachel, Michael Jr., and Jennifer got exactly what they invested. Minimal effort, minimal reward. I got what I earned, everything,